Hello and welcome to another episode of What's on the Pile. I'm Nathan Bezner, and with me is Shane Lee and Jenner. It's just the three of us
Still
tonight.
here. Yep.
This week we'll be discussing the very silly and gross as hell 80s remake of The Blob. The Blob, starring Shawnee Smith, Amanda in the Saw series for Saw fans out there, Matt Dillon's brother, or the guy from Entourage, however you like to think of him. The Blob was directed by Chuck Russell and written by Frank Darabont with Russell. It's important to note Darabont, as you'll see some Darabont favorites in the cast. It's the same age old story of a meteorite landing in a forest and the poor homeless man who happens upon it and brings it into society. So, let's get right into it and start our probably very short discussion of the Blob. Who wants to Who
So
wants to go first?
Well, this was on my pile. You had something. I'm sorry. You had something to say, Shane.
Okay.
no, I was just going to start the same thing. It was on my pile too. I've
Oh,
seen the
neither of you
original.
had seen it.
Yeah.
I'd always been afraid.
Oh.
I'd always been afraid of it because of that image of the guy with the pink stuff all over his face.
Oh, it's
Um,
gross. It is a
Yeah,
gross
this-
movie.
That VHS box would stick with you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
So I mean, the original was, from what I remember, is very cheesy, right? I mean, starting with the theme song, and I thought this was just going to be like a blob just rolling over people. I was not prepared for how disgusting this movie was and how graphic it was. Uh, co- I'll be honest. I wasn't scared, but I thought this movie was actually scary. I was not expecting that.
Amelia agrees. It's the first movie where she turned to me and she was just in the room, wasn't even watching it. And she would look up occasionally and see a scene and be like, okay, seriously? That actually scares me. Oh, and that is gross. That is
Yeah,
gross and that scares me. And so it rattled Amelia. First movie to do that.
Yeah.
like it's the kind of movie where I'm not scared, but I can recognize that this is scary. And if I'd seen this, maybe 10 years earlier, I would have hated it. Before I was a little bit more,
Inured.
acclimated, yeah, newer to horror and stuff. I'm glad I didn't see this as a kid. I avoided this as a kid because of that box.
Oh yeah, this would have scared the shit out of me when I was
But
a kid.
but I always, as I grew older, always thought this is probably something really cheesy, very minimal violence, just a blob rolling over people, and then they're just gone.
No, this was people who took lessons from John Carpenter's The Thing before that became fashionable.
They made a realistic gelatinous cube, except it's not
Ooh.
cube shaped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was delighted with this movie. I had a really good time with it, and I found it interesting that with all of the conspiracy theory stuff and the unbelievable nastiness of the creature itself, and some of the thoroughly impressive demolitions of human bodies in this movie, it nonetheless managed to retain a very, very light, well, not very, very light, but a relatively light and endearing tone. Not least for being buoyed considerably by very charismatic performances by Shawnee Smith and Kevin Dillon. And absolutely, I am listing Shawnee Smith first. She is one of the best
Yes.
damn heroines that I think 80s horror particularly ever produced. The kids are smart, they're resourceful, they're likable, they don't do stupid things.
Chuck Russell even said that Shawnee Smith she was the one who was based on the Steve McQueen character of the original.
Yeah,
She's the hero.
I like
She's the
that.
lead.
I like that they set up the football player to be sort of the go-to hero after he has the very endearing meet cute where he asks Shawnee Smith out at the beginning of the movie. He's like, "You busy tonight?" After getting completely clocked on the field, and then of course he ends up being the first person who gets Slick dissolved.
Such a
Well,
great scene too.
second person, but
I mean, I also felt like they were setting up the sheriff and the woman, the lady at the diner that he asked out to have bigger roles. And then he dies off screen. You see his like fucked up rubber face, and then she just gets like
It's still
exploded
moving, like he's still alive, and God, it's horrifying.
The sheriff, especially being played by Frank Darabont, stalwart Jeffrey DeMunn, one of the all-time great that guys. I think he gets a little bit of short shrift. I would have liked just a little bit more of him. But Candy Clark's climax in the phone booth is a tremendous set piece.
Yeah.
This is I think somebody described this as.
By the way, just before we get away from it, they actually have a reason for killing the sheriff the way they did. That character in the original is like is instrumental in killing the Blob at the end of the movie, and Darabont and Russell wanted to get one over on Blob fans and show him die in a very graphic way very early in the movie, and they'll be like, oh shit, if he can die, anyone can die. Anyone can die at any time.
Yes, anyone can die at any time. No one is safe, as was your refrain from last week. This was a good time. The effects work is, especially considering it was still in the optical printing era, this extraordinary mix of miniatures and mattes and optical process and some absolutely staggering practical stuff. The sheer number of molds that they had to take probably for all of the Blob's victims in this. Somebody described this as a cheerfully B movie with an A movie budget, and
which
I think that's actually one of. Well, yeah, no, like I say, I think it's one of the blurbs on the Shout Factory release. But this was a good time. I was impressed with the movie. I enjoyed it. I am glad I finally got to it, and I'm impressed that the actual sequence of scenes largely mirrors the original. Yeah. Although the heel turn for another great that guy, Joe Seneca, as Dr. Meadows, the government scientist.
Yeah.
Pulls the rug out of the kindly black doctor trope. Pretty impressively.
I did this shit on purpose.
Old Peckard, son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's a great character.
He's a great character. They're expendable. So you can tell that a lot of the lines tell you that people were paying attention during Alien. They were paying attention during The Thing. They were paying attention to everything that was going on in the meantime. They were paying attention to Aliens. This was a good time. This may be the closing argument of 80s science fiction horror.
I still like this movie. I know it has one of the most grotesque child deaths in any movie, but the whole movie's disgusting. So, and I saw it when I was younger before I developed that bullshit.
And the kid has one great line before he goes, which is, "I'm sorry, I'll never watch another movie again."
To be fair, that kid had a very punchable face. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Also, I knew, because you guys had warned about child death, I'm like, oh, one of these kids is going to die.
And of course, it's the shitty kid. Yeah. Like, it's the kid you won't mind as much. The one that's not related to the main character.
I in the chat, I figured that you either remembered or probably wouldn't be overly perturbed, but I still figured it was worthwhile to drop that line in the communiques.
What?
That there was child death involved.
Okay.
I'm looking out for you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I knew there was. I'd seen this movie.
Well, I don't know how well you remember things, because Lord knows I don't at my age, and you're gaining on me.
How can you forget that kid being like outdoes the guy who melts in RoboCop, who is in this and does not get melted?
He gets bent in half.
He does get bent in half. Poor guy. Cool. That guy had a redemption arc and then died.
Yeah.
It was great.
I like that people aren't stupid in this movie, except the evil doctor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the scientists are pretty stupid.
The scientists are pretty stupid. The military guys, have a little bit of a clue, or at least kind of get their heads right eventually. The townspeople, even the cop, it's like, cut him loose. He doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
There isn't a drop of blood on him. We got work to do.
Hey, so what is their plan? To just drop this thing in Russia and just destroy Russia, and that's the end of the Cold War?
Yeah, it wouldn't work anyway.
Yeah, I also feel like Russia wouldn't be averse to just nuking the thing, just whatever.
That would just
Oh,
feed it.
Yeah, then it would become
Yeah.
bigger.
And of course, what is Russia mostly? Friggin' Siberia.
That's what I mean. It would never.
Yeah.
It would just come down as crystal rocks. They'd be like, the Americans are using rocks, pink rocks. What are
Weird
they
things
trying to tell us?
Weird things happen every spring, but not in Siberia. Never gets past the Urals.
Yeah, I don't know what their plan was. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun kind of twist on the old narrative, something new. It's also ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous.
At the same time, the U.S. in the Cold War entertained some really ludicrous ideas.
I just mean how impractical the thing is, the level to which the impracticality is, that this guy has had a lifetime to develop this shit.
He set his life on this. Yeah.
This is all he's been doing. That's his baby.
We've established that it isn't doing what he's expected, but he's impressed with the results nevertheless. Yeah. He was just looking for something on the order of a virus or an unstoppable bacteria or microbe. It's evolved beyond his wildest dreams. I mean,
so I've seen the original. I don't remember it very well. Was it actually an alien from outer space in the original?
It was actually an alien from outer space in the original. That's kind of the big shift, and of course, aside from killing off people, people filling slots that you wouldn't expect to be killed off.
Because I do remember I was watching the movie, and then halfway through the movie, I'm like, all that's left is Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith. Where else can this movie go? Oh, Cold War. Okay, got it. Cold War scientists. Okay, there's the second half of the movie.
Yeah, it's fun. Nobody stops the Blob. Did anybody else play the X-Men arcade game?
The 4-player one?
Ages ago, yeah.
When you get to the Blob, he goes, "Nobody stops the Blob," and then you fight him, and he just keeps saying it on a loop, and he says it 30 or 40 times in the fight, and the fight lasts twice as long as any other fight in the game, and that sentence, that one bit of audio is seared into my brain for eternity. And so every so often during the movie, I would go, "Nobody stops the Blob," until I had to show Amelia what I was talking about. She was like,
the X-Men arcade game, I think I always only ever played like player versus player, and nobody ever chose the Blob. But now I know why.
No, the 4-player X-Men arcade game was co-op.
Oh, the co-op one. No, I don't think I ever played that.
Yeah, I played that mostly on emulators as an adult because we didn't have enough quarters as a kid.
Yeah.
They had those at the movie theater, and you play like 2 quarters, and then mom's like, "All right, let's go. That's enough."
Some of those bosses are just programmed to be quarter eaters.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about this movie. It's fun. It's violent. It's stupid. I was entertained. I would recommend it to people.
The effects work
it was better than I thought it was going to be. It was more engaging than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, there were well-rounded characters. Like one thing Amelia was saying, she asked me, why are they even spending time on these people? Why aren't they just doing more Blob? And I told her, well, you need well-rounded characters in a movie in order to actually feel fear for their lives in order to be scared by the movie. If you don't have characters you care about, you're going to be laughing throughout the movie. You will not be scared that these characters might die. And so,
absolutely a valid lesson.
And I think they did. I think they did very well with that concept in this movie.
It doesn't kind of strike at the heart of you the way that Carpenter's The Thing did.
No.
But you can definitely see sort of a genetic relation, pun intended. The effects work is friggin' spectacular. It's a joy to watch if you like this kind of thing.
Yeah, I honestly didn't expect the Blob to feel threatening. I mean, this is before I started the movie. I thought, this Blob, what's going to be scary about that? I'm like, then I watched the movie and it's like, oh, okay, this Blob can move. It's disgusting. It has more than one trick up its sleeve. It's not just a rolling ball of goo.
It doesn't digest things instantly. but pretty close.
I was thinking I wouldn't mind another Blob remake if it was this kind of quality, because we need more good monster movies in the theaters, and it would be nice to have
Yeah.
the Blob come
Nanoparticles
back.
this time.
Yeah. But imagine what they could do with the effects now, like some of the
If they
fun
want to
stuff
be-
they could come
I
up
don't
with.
think
They want to go
I don't
crazy.
think they would have the charm that this one did. To be
No,
honest.
I mean with practicals.
Oh no, if they could do it practical, it'd be friggin' amazing. They're
Yeah.
not going to do it that way, though.
No, it's somebody like Blumhouse or somebody would have to spearhead the thing and to do it right.
And
which is possible in this environment now.
And what would be the practical effects, like no CGI, equivalent of Hayao Miyazaki sending a katana to Bob Weinstein? No cut.
Yeah.
Send him a broken graphics card. It's like, it's practical. You do not universal. You do not CGI over the practical stuff.
Yeah. Did you see
release the practical 2011 thing?
Yeah. Did you see the 2011 thing?
It was fine. I wish they need to release the practical version. They need to release the version where they didn't.
Version?
Yeah.
They filmed it practical, and Universal decided to CG over everything anyway.
I mean, is that movie worth watching?
I like it.
I like it too.
It's not terribly monumental.
It's respectful of the original. And that's really all I ask for.
It is worshipful of the original. Credit where credit is due.
I mean, I know how it ends.
But it would be a lot better if they had done it practical, unless there was something actually wrong with the practical effects, which by all accounts there frickin' wasn't. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, why don't we? We're 17 minutes in. We are probably done with the Blob at this point.
Well, we could talk a little more about Chuck Russell. Apparently, he's working on directing a remake of Witchboard.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. After having taken a long break and kind of after The Scorpion King, he kind of pulled back to producing and that sort of thing. Produced Collateral, props.
Yeah.
But he got back into directing a few years ago. Apparently, he made a Bollywood movie in 2019.
Cool.
Called Jungle. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but the title reads like Jungly, like it's a movie that's sort of jungly. I don't know, like it's set in the jungle-ish. I don't know. But apparently, he made a full-on Bollywood picture, which I'm now very curious to see because it's from the director of Eraser and The Blob and Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yeah, my favorite one. Most people's favorite one.
I mean, also written by Darabont too, right?
Yeah.
So good.
Darabont's one of us. Darabont's done good.
Yeah. I actually, God, I'm glad that he got out of The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yeah. On the other hand, the series just wasn't the same after him, but that's that didn't mean that it would stop. That just means that it would be the series I finally gave up on with the eternal refrain of, why am I doing this to myself? Week after week.
Yeah.
After week.
I just got really tired of those bleak kind of no matter what we do, the worst of humanity will beat out the best of humanity. Everything will be shit and we'll never rebuild because everybody will just eat themselves alive. There is no utopia.
Now, at this point, screw that. I want a post-zombie utopia.
Yeah.
I want a utopian zombie apocalypse movie.
Like all the stupid people got eaten and the rest of them. Yeah, I would enjoy that. I would enjoy that very much.
It would be cathartic at this point after years and years of frickin' misery porn.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah.
I would also like to. Did you have anything else to say about Charles Russell? I like his movies fine.
Yeah, he's a very likable filmmaker. Nobody loves him, but I don't know if anybody doesn't like him.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Eraser is okay. The Mask is pretty neat. Yeah.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the other movie I watched, which was Troll, which one of our friends in the comment section has requested several weeks back. So I went ahead and watched it. And
quick
that,
mea culpa out of the gate.
yes,
I thought it was Larry Cohen, mostly because Michael Moriarty was in it, that did ill service to the late, great, mostly known as a makeup artist, John Carl Buechler. I regret the
I was
error.
wondering what what the pronunciation on his name was.
Yeah. So
It's
continue.
Troll, which is the first movie. The sequel, Troll 2, is the more well-known film that is one of the worst movies ever made. Like globally, has that moniker.
Subject of best worst movie.
Yeah, it is. It is that bad. This is the movie that was supposed to come before it. This movie is delightful.
Really?
It is.
I forgot
I
to
need
watch
to see it again.
Absolutely delightful.
Yeah.
It's about Michael Moriarty and his wife and kids, one of which is Atreyu.
Harry Potter.
Yes, Harry
Senior
Potter.
and Junior.
Hi, Harry Potter. Yeah,
Yeah.
they kept saying, and especially since it's a magical movie, like there's all sorts of fairies and shit. There's just keep saying Harry Potter is hilarious. It made it a lot funnier. That's true. But no, it's a delightful little film. It's all about this troll who steals the sister of Atreyu and keeps her in his fairy realm where she's unconscious, and he takes her place. So he like just completely becomes her. But he's also a little psychopath, so he just wrecks everything constantly and turns on the fire alarms, and everybody's like, "What the fuck's up with that kid?" And so we meet all the other we meet all the other people, which are June Lockhart lives upstairs. Oh God, what's his name?
Sonny Bono.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about Sonny Bono, but that was funny. He plays the swinger.
Yeah. Gary Sandy, late of WKRP, was in there.
No. Shit. What the hell is his name? He showed up in. I think he showed up in. Fucking. God damn it! I'm Willow. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna Phil Fondacaro. You guys
don't know the name.
Know him?
Not familiar.
You would recognize him.
He's a that guy.
He is a that guy. He's a that guy of little people, and and he turns in an absolutely marvelous performance as somebody who is constantly looked down upon in both figuratively and literally throughout the film, and you are made very aware of who's an asshole to him and who isn't. Even our nice characters say asshole bullshit things to him, and he just smiles and he takes it. And it's what they do with the character in the film is so sweet. it's a touching gesture at the end of it. I don't want to give anything away because now I want people to see it.
Yeah, I need to see it again. I remember I saw it first when I was very young, and thus I think it got to me a little bit, not least for the ending, which has always stuck with me. But I think in my present state of mind, I would probably like it a lot more. I think I need to revisit this one.
Yeah.
Not least for the atmosphere of the apartments gradually turning into fairy realms.
Yes.
Like it's a memorable conceit for a very inexpensive movie.
Yeah.
And don't forget, of course, are you going to say her or should I let it pass?
What?
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, she is in it. She turns in a fine performance. It's her first one. She met her husband on set. The boyfriend dude is her real life husband, or I don't know if they're divorced or still together or what, but they were married at one time and they met on this movie, which I think is cute. But she's incredibly embarrassed by this movie, and I see no reason to be. I mean, if Jennifer Aniston is not like does not feel embarrassed about Leprechaun, then you don't have to feel embarrassed about this movie. It's a fine movie. It's well acted. It's fun. It's kind of a family movie, family adventure fantasy.
It was a
film.
very early PG-13.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, based on the box, I was never scared of this movie. The troll looks kind of charming.
I actually
box
did.
image.
I did not know what this movie was. I never put it together. But when I saw the box art finally of the troll holding the ball, I was like, "Oh shit, that's that weird video cassette I saw in every video store that had
every
the
last one
that had the troll, the monster holding the Captain America shield."
Oh, it was the Captain America? I remember the box very well, but I don't remember that.
It just looks kind of like it. And so I always thought it was holding like a Captain America shield, and I didn't really care for that stuff at the time, so I just pass it over.
Yeah, this is one I probably need to revisit.
Very fun movie.
But yeah, that box art is another one that would stick with you.
Declan ended up watching this with me, and he loved it.
Oh.
Really?
Man, they have like hundreds of little rubber Land of the Lost looking creatures all singing along, doing an orchestral thing going. It's delightful. Oh, God, I loved it. What a wonderful movie.
Yeah. Empire Pictures did some great stuff. They did some very cheesy stuff, but they did some great stuff, and they did some great cheesy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad Charles Band is still out there, swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
chucking stuff out. Beekler, of course, apparently was working on possibly either a reboot or a remake or a straight sequel. But unfortunately passed away in 2019.
Yeah.
So much missed. As much as a makeup and effects guy, he was an absolute stalwart of the higher caliber direct-to-video stuff back in the day. He was, and he always did stellar work, and he is much missed and lamented.
Yeah. Great work. So yeah, I recommend this movie. I think everybody should watch it. I'm not going to say anything more about it because I think it's actually interesting the directions it goes. So it's unexpected in some ways, mostly because some of it is just batshit crazy. But
and I still find the ending haunting. Haunts
really?
me to this day. No, in a good way. Well, I don't know. It's like I say, I need to see it again because it creeped me out so much that I ultimately didn't like it before. But that last shot really sticks with me. Just
okay. I want to know what it is because it doesn't.
I don't know. I don't know exactly. Just it was one of my earlier instances of everybody. It seemed like everybody won, and then oh no, we're still screwed. But then it occurs to me that they're going to turn the world into a fairy realm. That may not actually be a bad thing.
No, it's
that's me. That's me thinking now. I just wanted everybody, all of the humans, to be okay. Last time I saw the movie, I was like 12.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's not. It's definitely not a dark ending. It's the furthest thing from a dark ending. It's a little we could have a sequel.
Yeah.
And that's about as far as it goes. I don't know. Rewatch it. I'd love to talk more about it.
Yeah. Am I correct in my recollection that the vines coming out of the apartment near the climax of the movie were stop motion?
Yes. There's a lot of stop motion in it.
Neat.
I need
to revisit
better than
this
others.
I need to revisit this one. That's my takeaway here.
And Shane, I actually recommend that you watch it as well because it's actually a nifty little movie. So put it on the list for some time.
Basically, no gore. Yes.
No. Well, no.
I mean, I don't mind that, especially from a movie of this era.
I'm not
worried about that.
Maybe
it's like a PG-13 movie, right? It's like
early PG-13,
yeah.
Which could be a little bit harder than some of the later stuff, but yeah.
So, I mean, Sonny Bono, like his head, like almost explodes, but it's
Sonny Bono, so it's funny.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I mean the last time I was really bothered with gore was that Project Witch Hunting movie, and that's just because that movie was just unrelenting.
Oh God!
In the violence. I mean, usually gore doesn't bother me too much. I mean, I don't go for the I don't seek out the super extreme stuff, but I'm
Uh,
generally
al-
okay.
al- Also, an incidental shout out to the casting of June Lockhart as the Good Witch,
Yep.
and Anne Lockhart as her true form. That is to say, June Lockhart's
These are two
daughter Anne.
things. These are two things that are revealed in the climax of the film, and are directly what I was talking about that I did not want to spoil.
I'm not going to remember. It's not
Sorry.
going to. I don't really understand what's happening anyway, so it's fine.
I'll trust. But
Yeah,
yes, June
yeah.
Lockhart.
I already said
yeah.
June Lockhart anyway.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, yeah, that's why I want to move on. See it again, Jenner. You'll see it sometime. Shane, I hope someday.
Sure.
I'd like to talk more in depth about it at some point.
Okay.
So we could
probably stand to do a deep dive on the history of Empire Pictures one of these days. Anyway,
that could be fun.
That's an interesting period in cinema and particularly video history.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun.
Mm.
Well, this is going to be a short show tonight. What did you guys watch in the last week? I watched a thing.
I've got a few
couple
things.
of things.
Okay.
Just a couple of things. Stuff to keep up with, like Lower Decks, Loki, all very good. Going along at keeping the side up. Aside from that, I finished The Fall of the House of Usher, which I don't think I had finished last time. They almost got me to cry in the last episode. They almost got me. Didn't quite get there, but they were trying. Even so, liked it tremendously. I can understand, Flanagan is not your guy. So even so,
I'm like the only person. I don't get him. I don't get the love. I don't get anything about it. It's like everybody has that one thing where everybody else is like deeply in love with this thing, and you're like, I just don't get it. I don't see it.
I think for me, it's Wes Anderson. Other than very early Wes Anderson, I think.
I thought it was Star Wars.
It's Star Wars too.
I like Wes Anderson and Star. Well, okay, I see what you're saying. Yes,
I liked everything up to through Tenenbaums, and then after that, I kind of like drop off.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I like. Let's see. I'm not as big on Scorsese or Hitchcock as most film dorks.
Mm-hmm.
I love Vertigo. I like Rear Window and Psycho. Amusingly, the three Hitchcock movies that Lady Gaga mentioned in Bad Romance, I don't like any of Hitchcock's other movies.
Aww.
They leave me freaking cold, and I frickin' hate Notorious. Fuck that movie.
I love Strangers on a Train.
I need to see that one again. I'm a little annoyed that they completely chucked Chandler's script out the window, but at least he still got the credit and a payday for it. Even so, but aside from that, I finished The Fall of the House of Usher. I saw The Blob, of course. I finally got to the second season, only 3 more of Castlevania, which was much
On
overdue.
my list. Yeah, I need to watch it. I watched the first season, which I think was 3 episodes.
Four
episodes.
4 episodes, just a prologue, basically.
Yeah.
I watched it when it first came out. It was years and years ago. Yeah. I've been told to continue, and I re-added that to my list.
And of course, considering that the 8 episodes of season 2 ended with a pretty definitive finale, I'm interested to see where they go from there. I just haven't had a chance to get there. That said, retains the very, very sharp, if interestingly anachronistic writing of the first season that I remembered, which it's been a while since I saw the first season. I didn't realize Carmilla was in there. That I would have gotten on it much more directly. And she does have the most amazing line delivery after the spectacular events of I guess the second to last episode or thereabouts, like where the castle is zapping all over creation. What the fuck was that? Which is amazing coming from Carmilla Karnstein of Styria.
I love that show.
It's
first
really
series.
good. It's really good.
And that
I've heard good things about Nocturne too.
Yeah,
Nocturne. I am 2 episodes in, and so far it hasn't grabbed me yet. But the general feeling is still kind of there. I'm not pulled in as much as I was with the first series, because this one seems to deviate from Castlevania a lot more.
I am given to understand that for all his problematicism, Warren Ellis's contribution is distinctly missed.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'm hoping some life is breathed into it. Because the two main characters, I mostly remember Richter from Rondo of Blood, but well, I remember him from that, but I mostly remember him from Symphony of the Night, being the you play the last level of Rondo of Blood first, where he's fighting Dracula, and if you get killed by Dracula during that fight, Maria runs out and goes Richter and throws out all her shit, all her magic shit, and you gain full life again, and then you fight Dracula again. I think if you die the second time, they're just like, fuck you, start over. Because they make it really easy.
You should not be playing platformers.
But yeah, it's
really nifty series.
So,
just amazing artwork, amazing writing, amazing voice acting all the way through. Really interesting story that gotta love Peter Stormare as that one vaguely animalistic vampire who just, what are we doing here? In varying degrees and varying phrasings all the way through. And of course, it's frickin' Stormare, so he's always a hoot.
Cliff, Skip
Hey.
says season 3 is excellent. Love season 3, and
we gotta get to it soon. It's
and
overdue.
then he also said miserable little pile of secrets, which is the best line from Castlevania of all time.
Someone told me season 3 was the best one. Actually, that's just one person in my.
Maybe
Discord
it was season.
But
I'm getting back to this soon. I promise. I am getting back to this soon. I will report back my results.
Is Dracula still around in season 3?
Could you have a Castlevania without Dracula? I don't know I've only played. I played Symphony a little bit. I played like the original a little bit.
He dies every game and gets resurrected by some asshole. One time he gets resurrected by the Dark Wizard Shaft. Shaft. And every time I saw that Dave, I would start hearing that song. It would come up in my head.
Is he black?
No.
It's like he was resurrected by the Dark Wizard Shaft. You damn right. Sorry.
Yeah. No, great series. Wonderful series. And good time of year to be watching it.
Good time of year to be watching. It felt right. It felt like the time to be doing that.
Mm-hmm. What else you got?
That was about it, really.
Oh, shit. What about you, Shane? What do you got?
I've been busy. I've been busy.
So I'm up to season 5. I just started season 5 of Disenchantment.
Yay!
Still going strong. I'm trying to get through it fast because also I just got a free 75 days of Crunchyroll, which I had to redeem by the 20th. So I went and redeemed that. So I'm actually, I mean, if you guys have any recommendations, I seem to be mostly interested in shows that came at the tail end of my fandom that I missed. But what I did watch was I watched the new Rurouni Kenshin. I watched one episode. I didn't know what this was because there's the original TV series and a number of OAVs and movies. This seems to be a complete retelling of the original TV series again, just with new animation. Seems to be the same voice cast. They did make Kenshin's voice a little bit more masculine, which I'm conflicted about because I really like his voice in the original anime. Anyways, watching that. I watched one episode of that. I watched one episode of that new Trigun show, Trigun Stampede or something. Not sure how I feel about that. It seems to be, it's all CG animation, and they reveal in the opening that Vash and his brother Knives are from space.
Yeah.
Which seems to be a big reveal. I don't remember the TV series.
I thought everybody was from space in that show. It's like a space colony.
Well, they reveal Rem and Knives and Vash together in the opening scene, which I thought was like supposed to be a big reveal, like halfway through the original series. But
I still need to see the movie from a few years ago before I see the new series. But yeah,
those three, Rem and Vash and Knives, were all on a colony ship that got destroyed basically, and all the pods got sent out, and then all the people grew up, and it was like decades later, but then they got sent out. There's some kind of weird, I don't remember exactly how it is,
but they're like the descendants. This happening in the original series.
That's what I'm talking about.
It was
I'm talking about the original. But yeah,
it was kind of almost like like an action comedy until then. Then it got kind of heavy after all this stuff was revealed.
Yeah, the first half of the show was very comical, and then suddenly it was space darkness.
Yeah, I also
So good.
revisited
Such a
Legend
great
of
show.
Black
Yeah.
Legend of Black Heaven, which I remember loving back in the day. We used a lot of that in Novum, our project.
That's
Yes.
one I still
Although
need to actually sit down and
They
frickin' watch.
only have the dub and no subtitles for that one, which
Oh.
is weird. The dub is very over the top and goofy. I only watch only one episode of each of these, so I'm gonna try and finish Disenchantment so I could take advantage of the amount of stuff they have on there is pretty staggering. After the 75 days are over, I might actually subscribe for a while.
It's great. I have enjoyed my subscription.
So I went to the library and they have a horror table out and grabbed I don't think I've heard of this. I just grabbed this because of who was on the cover.
Yay!
Prisoners of the Ghostland, starring Nicolas Cage. So this is
American. Hsien Sono's Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Hsien Sono, Japanese director, apparently an American production. So this is a post-apocalyptic samurai horror western, I guess is how you would describe it. It's
the movie that even Nicolas Cage admitted, I don't think I got it.
I mean, the plot is pretty simple. He's hired by Bill Moseley playing the governor, so you know who the bad guy is, to rescue his daughter, I believe. And then he rescues the daughter, and then I guess runs into this other settlement, and then fights to liberate them. I think is what the movie was about. It's hard. Nicolas Cage doesn't speak very much in this movie. It's not quite Willy's Wonderland levels, but he is quite stoic. There's child death right away. He breaks into a bank yelling "Bonsai" and "Urusai." I won't reveal how the child dies, but a child dies right away. And it just gets crazy.
He also has that whole "I am radioactive" monologue. Yeah. It's wacky. It is a wacky movie, and of course got another solid supporting role for Nick Cassavetes.
That's right.
Nick and Nick together again for the first time since Face Off.
That's right. I forgot about that. But yeah, this is like Mad Max meets like Kabuki theater almost.
It's like Mad Max if he ended up in Bartertown, in a town at like the end of a road, and there wasn't anything past it. Like it's Mad Max in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Got some amazing photography in it, particularly in some of the climactic sequence. Cage does manful work, but you get the feeling he doesn't fully understand it. But it's not the movie that I was hoping for from it. I still enjoyed it a lot. It's daring and, as I say, wacky in a way that a lot of movies released in English aren't. That's Sono all the way. It's not his strongest work either.
Yeah, apparently he directed Suicide Club, which I rented blind about 20 years ago and was absolutely horrified by.
Mm-hmm.
Sono is cool. We should do Why Don't You Play in Hell one of these days. It's about Yakuza trying to produce a movie.
So like Japanese Get Shorty?
Except much more violent.
Okay. I'm not sure this belongs in horror either. It's described in Wikipedia as a horror western. There wasn't really that much horror to it. It's more of an action movie.
Aside from the ball torture.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't know if I should spoil that. That was an unexpected scene.
Just leave that out there.
I mean, well, I don't think Nate's gonna watch it because it opens with a child being murdered during.
No, I'm not gonna see it.
But he's got like all these little explosives all over his body. As a threat to not following his orders, and at one point he gets one of his testicles blown off, and then he holds it up and screams something. I don't even know what he screams. He just pulls it out. It's like ah, and then walks around with one testicle the rest of the movie. He still has the explosive on the other testicle the entire time.
That's weird.
But that's the level we're playing at.
It's a weird movie. Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, it was fine. I got a blind library item. It's fine.
Yeah, not really a horror movie. Not really defined. It's a Hsien Sono movie, and not his strongest, but it is the first one he did in English, so that's fun.
Skip wants to see it.
I mean, barely in English. I mean, I think Cage is. Bill Moseley speaks a little. There's not a whole lot of dialogue in this movie. A lot of it that there is in Japanese, and also in Chinese, which was subtitled as Japanese, but she was speaking Chinese. So the other movie I saw was, which I won't talk too much about because I'm assuming you guys want to see it, is Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh,
I'll see it eventually.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get on that as soon as it hits Apple TV. So
Yeah, there's that. Despite what the the sort of new territory that it sort of covers for Scorsese, this is a classic Scorsese gangster movie. All the harm, like he's right at home here. All the stuff, all the back alley dealings, all the mob style hits. It's all here except it's the Osage Native Americans instead of Italians. There's even the montage of when somebody decides they need to clean up, they need to clean house. It's right out of Goodfellas, the What Is Life
Yeah.
sequence from Good. I mean this in a positive way. I mean I really enjoyed it. He's obviously very comfortable here. What I found very interesting was that I've read this is based on a book. I've read the book. So the character that Leonardo DiCaprio plays, Ernest Burkhart, is sort of a minor character in the book. And I remember years and years back, it was reported that Jesse Plemons was going to be playing this character. And DiCaprio would be playing the lawman who comes in and cleans things up. Apparently, DiCaprio decided he would rather play this character. So in the book, the character that Jesse Plemons does play, he is sort of the central figure of the book. One of the subtitles of the book is like the birth of the FBI. Like J. Edgar Hoover in real life used this case to sort of create the FBI. And so we see a lot of it from the investigator's point of view, and he sort of unravels everything. In the movie, Jesse Plemons shows up in the third act and kind of barely does anything. What I'm curious about, so DiCaprio decided he wanted to play Ernest Burkhart instead, who's sort of this loser who has an Osage wife. I'm wondering if he was always meant to be the lead, and then when he decided he wanted to play this character, they rearranged the whole movie to make it about him instead.
I actually read an article about this. What happened was they wrote the script out and they read it and they looked at it and they realized, oh shit, we didn't actually consult any Osage people and it's focusing entirely on the white male characters. We need to do something, and so they shifted the focus to like the wife was apparently had like 3 lines, and then suddenly she's a major character.
Right. I mean that makes sense. So I'm also wondering then if DiCaprio decided he wanted to play this. Did he steal the lead from Plemons, or was he always meant to be the lead and they reshifted the movie around him? I mean
I get the feeling. I bet you DiCaprio is the kind of guy who's like, I want this one, and Plemons is the kind of guy who says, I don't care, I can play either.
Yeah.
Because he can.
He's not in the movie.
Yeah, Plemons can do whatever the hell he wants at this point.
Yeah, I mean DiCaprio's fine in this. I think it would have been more interesting with Plemons in the lead role. His character kind of just shows up as the lawman, and the way the movie is structured, he doesn't really have much to do. But not knowing all that stuff, I think it's a solid Scorsese movie, but it's also something you guys are very familiar with.
I was going to say, as we established a few weeks ago with After Hours, there are people who will appear in a Scorsese movie just to appear in a frickin' Scorsese movie.
Yeah, I mean, Brendan Fraser shows up in this movie, although
he's having a moment. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I would actually say he is one of the weaker. His performance is one of the weaker ones in this film.
That's a pity.
It's a small role, but he kind of hams it up. I mean, maybe he was just excited to be on a Scorsese set.
I mean, for what it's worth, outside of The Whale, which I
haven't seen that yet.
Ought to see. I don't know.
I haven't watched one of what's his face's movies, Aronofsky's movies in years.
I haven't. Since
I almost said weird, but he got weird.
I like Aronofsky very, very much just in general, but I just haven't gotten to The Whale at the same time. Brendan Fraser had a absolutely stellar supporting role in Steven Soderbergh's sort of neo-noir No Sudden Move, which I think was a Max original with Benicio del Toro and Don Cheadle. I think it dropped on then HBO Max at the height of the pandemic. Oh. But that was a terrific little movie, and Fraser's performance in it was absolutely stellar.
I
believe in Brendan Fraser. I'm glad he's back.
I've been keeping up with some of the rumblings about Killers of the Flower Moon. With a lot of Native people have responded to it, and there have been from a lot of people that I've seen, it's been either it's fine to do they really have to in graphic detail constantly show our fucking shitty lives in America, and that's it. We are not your trauma. We are not your guilt. Fuck you. So I'm kind of on the fence about the movie.
I can see that.
I mean, I'm still going to see it. You may very well be entirely right.
And they need to bring back intermissions. I mean, this is 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
It is balls to release that in the theater, but I suppose it's they're as with The Irishman, it's for Oscar contention as much as anything else.
And one thing I've heard is that in a lot of theaters, so this is a lot of moments, this is a very quiet movie. A lot of theaters, people can hear the Taylor Swift movie going during the quiet moments in this film, which apparently has been ruining it for some people. Which suck. It didn't happen to me, but that would suck.
That is awful.
The cognitive dissonance is real.
But I enjoy it. It's to me it's classic gangster Scorsese. He's in his wheelhouse, even though it might not be what you typically would think he would do. Solid performance. Oh, Pat Healy shows up. I always like it when Pat Healy shows up. Who else is in this movie? Solid performances by the Native Americans. I know Lily Gladstone is third build. She honestly doesn't have that much to do. I mean, one of the plot points is that she's drugged for a lot of the movie. So.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, now I understand why some people have problems with it.
Yeah, I mean apparently that's what really happened, but anyways, I think that was everything. Been playing Spider-Man 2. A lot of fun. It's Spider-Man 2.0. I mean, obviously, but it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's fun. Yeah. I'm still early in the story. I haven't even seen Venom yet. I know Venom's a big part of it.
It's gonna be good. It's just gonna be good. You just know it's gonna be good.
It's really fun playing Miles and Peter together. The way they team up and you can switch between them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you can switch.
Oh, neat.
Other than specific missions, you can switch at any time. So you can just press a button and switch over to Miles. And sometimes you'll see the other one out in the field while you're just doing stuff, and they'll like jump in and help you or whatever.
That's awesome.
Oh, neat.
And it plays off of
that's a fun dynamic.
Yeah, their banter is really cool. The opening scene, you play as both of them, and you kind of switch back and forth. It's scripted, but you switch back and forth, and it does continue the stories from both Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, Nate, you played both of those, right?
Yeah. Great games.
All those things from the first game are in here.
Those are some of the few games I've 100%ed because it's just fun to swing around Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Yeah, they added Queens and Brooklyn this time.
Okay.
It's such an odd thing that they cannot make a good Superman game to save their freaking lives.
Well, what do you do about the health, I guess, and damage?
But I mean, going back to, I guess it was the original PlayStation Spider-Man games. It seems like they can do no wrong.
What you do with Superman is you make him exactly as he is. You make him 100% impervious to anything, cannot be killed, nothing can hurt him, he can fly anywhere he wants, he can do whatever he wants. But the game is built around as little damage as possible, because that's what he's actually trying to achieve.
Thank you.
That's not that hard.
But they can't do it.
Yeah.
They don't know how to do it.
And then occasionally you would let people have a boss fight with some major villain, and then you get to be a fucking god. And gamers love that.
This is the beauty part. It's a fully destructible environment, but you lose points every time you destroy any of the environment.
Yes. Yes.
You get it. Thank you.
I can imagine Zack Snyder playing this game like, this fucking sucks. What's the point of this? Anyways, but Spider-Man 2, I mean, I don't need to recommend that to anybody. No. I mean, Nate, I know you're going to play it when you get a chance. So.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It's a good time.
All right.
Or more precisely, if you take advantage of the fully destructible environments, as it goes on, you start encountering like U.S. government or shadow organization kryptonitic countermeasures.
Yes.
Getting increasingly deployed the more you fuck up the planet.
Until you can eventually become a villain, which some people are going to want to do. So you're going to need a villain component.
Oh, you could be evil Superman.
Yeah,
Like
because everybody likes Invincible right now.
Yeah, and an open world, open fated Superman game. That might be what they're waiting for. That might be the. You have the idea here. Somebody make this.
Don't steal it from me. Just give me $20. I'll be happy for the idea.
I thought you were going to say just give me $20 million to make it. With
buy the man a nice meal. Give him some grease.
At least some magic cards. I mean,
yeah, I know, right?
Be serious here. Okay. What did I watch? We're mostly watching shows right now. Amelia and Declan have started My Hero Academia with me. A lot of fun. I've seen the first season of it. It's a fun show. You know, it's a typical shonen, so there's nothing really, no new territory going there. And we've been watching Demon Slayer, which everybody is.
I've been watching. I've watched, I think, 13. I just got to the guy with the bullhead.
Okay, yeah.
Which is pretty. I think is pretty early. I'm on season 1. I think it's pretty early.
Yeah. It's a great show.
Boarhead.
Boarhead. Oh, you just got to him, Inosuke.
Yeah. Inosuke, yeah.
He's great. He's my favorite character. He's fantastic. Yeah, so we've been watching that with the Sword Smith arc. It's pretty fun. We started Goosebumps, which is fucking great.
Really?
And hilarious.
Been long?
Yeah. It's
okay. That's on Disney, yes?
Yes. The writing is so smart on that show. It's these realistic teens that actually behave in realistic ways and joke in realistic ways. And like they don't have the typical bully character or anything like that. The school dynamics are more apropos of what schools apparently are more like today. And the people react to the weird goings on accurately. 100% accurately.
Oh, sold.
Watch it. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I was never a Goosebumps guy. I kind of think R.L. Stine is one of the worst writers of all time.
I don't think I've ever read. I read some.
They've done some interesting things with his properties, though.
Yeah. But Goosebumps. I am very happy with that show. I like it a lot. However, I want to talk about the movie that we watched this week. There's a movie that came out. Jess had read the book. It was a novella that she really liked, and she told me all about it. I did not read it myself, but she's told me every bit of the story. I was like, that sounds fucking awesome. Let's watch it. Mm-hmm. Dark Harvest.
We covered the trailer for this a few weeks back on Bastards. I didn't realize it had dropped yet.
Yes, it is streaming, and it is directed by David Slade.
I know that name.
That name is familiar.
Hard Candy. Black Mirror, Bandersnatch, 30 Days of Night. You know, a guy that has some.
So actually, had some juice, has some cred.
Yes, it might be one of the stupidest movies I have ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, that's
it makes no sense. One, absolutely beautiful. Love the cinematography. Editing, fine. Serviceable. The effects, very good. The creature itself, memorable. Very, very well done. Very awesome. The story is so fucking stupid. It ruins everything.
Well, now you have me more than a little curious in spite of everything.
Well, I'm about to say a whole bunch of stuff about it. So
okay, you go on.
Okay, so this movie is about. It starts out where all these teenage boys and football players and stuff are running through cornfields screaming, and they all have bats and axes and shit. And there's one guy all alone. He's like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" And then this thing steps out and just murders the shit out of him, and then keeps going. And then you see all the football players come out and they're like, ah, and eventually they chase this thing down. And it turns out to be this scrawny, like 10-foot tall, desiccated corpse, like Jack Skellington looking thing with a pumpkin head that is an actual physical head, but is a pumpkin. So the flesh is pumpkin, but it's still it's really cool. They kill the shit out of it. And it turns out this is the town's harvest god. They have to appease the harvest by killing this thing every year before it gets to the church, or else they will have a bad harvest. What happened one year was there was a dust bowl and it kicked things up and made things bad for like a decade. So these are real stakes. Like this town could die if they don't, and it's already dying. There's a lot of poverty in it.
So it's sort of an American folk horror setup out of the gate.
Yes. Yeah. This is all fine. This is all fine at this point. I'm sold. I'm 100% in. The brother, this guy who won, who delivered the killing blow, he and his brother is like a ruffian in town, and the kid who killed the Sawtooth Jack, he is like the head football player. Everybody loves him. And when he kills the thing, they give him a shiny new Corvette, $25,000, and a house for his family to live in on the rich side of town. And then he goes off.
How good is the harvest when it is good in this town?
It's good enough to do. The Guild of Harvesters or whatever the hell they're called is doing it. They're like financing the whole thing and everything.
So this is like ConAgra folk horror.
So that's the first like 20 minutes of the movie. The next 45 minutes are spent with this dipshit, piece of shit, unempathetic, dumb and cowardly asshole brother who you realize slowly is the lead of the film. And you're like, fuck. Okay. So
like, why would you make this story this way?
Yeah. There's a cool character he works with. I'm not going to say anything bad about her. A young black girl who is just like kick ass as shit in the movie, and apparently she is in the book too. I have nothing bad to say about that character. That character is 100% awesome. Shining light. So I'm going to skip over a lot of stuff. And basically what happens is the kid, the brother, after discovering all these secrets and being pushed around by the sheriff and everything, he finds out, oh shit, it looks like Sawtooth Jack is actually last year's winner. It's the big twist. That's it. I've spoiled it for you. Big twist of the movie is it's his brother, last year's winner. Every year, the winner becomes the next Sawtooth Jack. They bury the winner. It becomes Sawtooth Jack. They dig him back up, and then he tries to get to the church, and everybody hunts him down again.
So they all know this, right?
No. Just the guild does, and the person who buries the body, who is then threatened by the sheriff that he and his family will be killed if they don't. So Jeremy Davies is the dad.
Oh.
I love that we both hit on that simultaneously.
Yeah, I love that guy.
I love that I just had to keep saying Jeremy. Eventually.
Well, the alternative was Piven.
But the first guess was Davies. I knew it would be because he's awesome. No, he's the dad, and it turns out he had to bury his own son. The son was murdered by the guild, who we never see, and he had to bury the body. No, I'm sorry. He had to murder his own son and then bury the body under threat of the rest of his family dying. The brother finds this out and is like, you know what? I'm going to do the run in the harvest anyway, because they say the brother can't do it because it can't be two from the same family in the same year. It's like illegal. And it's only because they know that it would be horrible to lose two children 2 years in a row.
We just established that our protagonist is kind of a dick.
Yeah, so who cares? So, okay, so they start the run. Sawtooth Jack starts coming out, barrels towards these people, and just starts eviscerating people. Fucking, he and his goofy friends, his like punk friends, all wearing leather jackets. They're like greasers. All go into this takes place in like the 50s. They're all greasers, and they go off to.
Oh, by the way,
They're like gonna hunt this thing. It doesn't really matter. They're gonna hunt this thing down and they're gonna kill it. And then suddenly, one guy, his whole stomach falls out and all his guts go. And then the next guy, oh no, his arm got ripped off and then he just vanished. And then the third guy, the best friend of the main character, is walking up to him and he goes, I think we should get out of here. And as he's saying it, Sawtooth Jack cuts the top part of his head off and then he goes, I think there's something wrong, and then dies because the top half of his head is gone.
Oh, because we've never seen that gag before.
And he has no brain when he says it. None. They take the brain out. So
what you're saying is amongst other things, it's that rare movie that doesn't actually know what to do with the violence that it has.
It is grisly, the violence, in the most comical way possible. Like, I laughed every time something happened.
So think M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening.
It gets better. So Sawtooth Jack makes his way into town. The brother gets scared and runs away because he's terrified, but he sees like the belt buckle and he's like, oh shit, that's my brother. Fuck, what am I going to do? And he solves the whole thing and he figures out, oh shit, okay, what has to happen is we have to make sure that Sawtooth Jack does make it so that we can all be free of the town. There's something they leave out in this movie that is in the book, is that there's like a magical force that physically keeps them within the town city limits. Nobody can physically leave. That's in the book, not in the movie.
So where the hell did they get the Corvette from?
So apparently what happens is in the movie, if somebody leaves town, because one of the characters' parents does leave town, the sheriff goes and murders them and comes back. And he does this every single time. This one guy. He's always alone.
And the sheriff is the problem.
He's the only problem. So
aside from, ConAgra and their magical circle of
Yes. So the brothers in the run. Sawtooth Jack's doing a rampage. We get to a bunker where we find all the nerds, all the pinkos, who don't want to hurt Sawtooth Jack. They don't give a shit about this whole thing. They think it's insane. So they lock themselves in a basement and just hang out. And one of the characters gets the door open and he's like, let me in. But then Sawtooth Jack is right there and Sawtooth Jack goes in. And then in a beautiful trucking slow motion shot, we see just a flood of blood explode out in slow motion for like the next 15, 20 seconds. Like it's like he's Stanley Kubrick. And so all the pinkos are dead because they're obviously cowards. Fuck pinkos, right? Fucking liberals. So Sawtooth Jack is trying to get there to the thing, and the shitty new football captain is trying to kill him at the same time. The brother and the girl both stop that guy, and finally they get to the church, and the brother's like, I know it's you, brother, don't kill me. Let's get you to that church. And Sawtooth Jack gets shot. He gets worse and worse, gets shot by more people. They're going to make it to the church. And then he just collapses. And he's like crying and holding Sawtooth Jack. And he's like, I'm so sorry we couldn't do it. And Sawtooth Jack takes this gun from his brother and puts it against his head just like the Fly. And so he kills him. So he becomes the killer that has to become the next Sawtooth Jack. So he's like, let's leave town, girl. You're awesome. I love you. And so they try to leave town, and then the sheriff shows up. And no, I'm sorry. They stop before they leave town because the sheriff is there, and he comes out and he's like, "Come on, we got to bury you now." And he's like, "Okay." And he gets to the grave, and he's like, "By the way, fuck you, sheriff," and shoots him and kills him. And then the grave digger, I guess, who was in it earlier, this old guy who was a minor, brief character, hits him in the head and then buries him alive. And the girl just splits town, and that guy becomes the next Sawtooth Jack, and it's the end of the movie. You want to know how the book ends? This is how the book ends.
Please.
So there's no brother situation. There's no dad. There's none of that bullshit. What happens is the first time they go through the first run, and then on the second run, the main character discovers, oh shit, that's that guy I knew. Look, I see a thing on him that proves it's him. And so what we find out is, one, Sawtooth Jack does not attack people. Its goal is to get to the church, not to kill, to get to the church. It injures people along the way when it tries to hit them out of the way because they have like fucking axes and shit, but it is 100% the victim throughout the book. And what the kids of the last run decide to do, they say, wait, so our parents have been making us do this bullshit. We've been stuck in this town because of this thing. We don't want to do this anymore. The kids rebel, and they help Sawtooth Jack to the church. He gets there. The town starts exploding, and all the kids run out of town, and they're like leaving the city limits like, yeah, yeah. And that's how the book ends.
Okay, I want to see that movie.
Yes, that's the movie I was promised. And I got this piece of shit that, like, oh, there's so many little things that are so bad about it. I haven't hated a movie this much in a long time. Like,
I can tell.
I really, really dislike
You still have
movie.
me curious. I hate to say
how did
it.
Jess like it?
Also, not knowing the story.
God, she hated it as much as I did, easily.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a bad movie. It's badly directed. It's badly written. Some of it's pretty badly acted, even.
Not Jeremy Davies.
No, he's fine, but it is kind of weird to see him clean shaven.
Jeremy Davies it's hard to imagine Jeremy Davies doing something other than his Jeremy Davies thing.
Well, no, he plays a clean shaven 50s typical dad with the pipe and the glasses.
So cast against type is what you're saying.
Yes. And he's one of the better parts of the movie, of course.
Oh, yeah. Imagine.
So he comes out unscathed.
You mean I'm not playing the Gravedigger? Sign me up.
I mean, he plays a dad. Doesn't he play a dad at Black Phone? But he's also kind of fucked up in that movie. That character's pretty fucked up.
I couldn't watch that movie because of that kid beating scene. That one hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. The Davies is the other villain of that movie.
Yeah. So yeah, I highly don't recommend Dark Harvest. I think it was a flaming pile of shit. I don't understand why they made the changes they made, except that maybe they were trying to somehow come up with a sequel, but a sequel of post-apocalyptic town where teenagers run free. That sequel would be better than the same guy coming back and doing the same shit. It's not supposed to be a slasher movie, you dumb fucks.
This is kind of the issue that I had with Smile. There seems to be this weird spate of horror movies lately that are sort of they think they're being edgy by it. You figure that you're going to see the conclusion of a cycle of a particular strain of horror, but it turns out it's just another iteration of it. Mm-hmm. That was a particularly. There were lots of other things about Smile that annoyed the shit out of me.
Awful movie. And it's just The Ring.
But yeah, no, this is one episode from the middle of an endless cycle of horror. It seems to be a trope that we're getting lately, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Even in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we get it. Things are cyclical. Ouroboros, whatever. Fucking can't people write a goddamn ending anymore? I know Stephen King never could, but
yeah, but there are people who can fix that.
Yeah,
yeah.
They just don't.
David Cronenberg, the person I mentioned earlier, who I'm not going to mention again.
Oh, Flanagan. Yeah, you can mention Flanagan. It's fine.
Okay. Now, have you seen Dr. Sleep?
Yes.
Okay.
I really like Dr. Sleep. I felt like it was respectful to both fans of the movie and the book.
Dude, guys, it's
Exactly.
about a child killer.
Yeah, no, it's
So
like
no, I
say,
have not made it through the movie.
Okay.
I made it until the first child death, and I was like, nope, I'm out.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair, and that realistically, that does not improve for a lot of that movie.
Yeah,
If you
I
only got to the
figured.
first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even so, yeah, managed to be effective both as an adaptation of the novel as well as a sequel to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining,
I've
which is
heard
a
that.
very, very hard juggling act to pull
It
off.
somehow addresses the
And
fact that the movie and the book end the Shining, the movie and the book end completely differently, but it
it
addresses
makes it
both.
work. Yeah.
That's kind of nifty.
In one,
Kind of
how
cool juggling
I like
they-
Ewan McGregor.
Yes.
Henry Thomas plays right.
Don't
Is it Henry
spoil-
Thomas?
Oh well, you can spoil. Yes, Henry Thomas as
The Jack Nicholson from The Shining. Like,
Oh,
the Jack
cool.
Nicholson
like
character.
literally playing that version of the character.
Oh wow, that's
Except he's now the bartender at the Overlook, which of course was not in the novel.
interesting. I'm never gonna see it.
I was going to say it's a horrible okie doke. Once you get past the relatively graphic child death, the movie's a grand old time.
It's a good adaptation of that book as well. I really enjoyed that book, which I was surprised. I didn't think I wanted a sequel to The Shining 30 years later, but it was a good book and good adaptation, even though it did change some things to, service certain parts of the movie.
Yeah, it changed the ending, but amongst other things, it improved the ending considerably because Stephen King has a problem with endings.
He has a couple of
even
good ones, but actually those have not been the ones I'm thinking of that have had good endings have not been adapted.
I still hold that the best Stephen King movie of all time is Maximum Overdrive, and you cannot convince me otherwise. I don't care about Stand By Me,
from
or
a certain point of
Shawshank,
view,
or whatever.
From a certain point of view, it's the only Stephen King movie.
That's right. I am technically correct.
And that, of course, is the best kind of correct. Or I should say, it's a Stephen King film, the only Stephen King film. Unless he actually did a John Badham and said movie instead of film at the front.
Oh, I rewatched Saw with Amelia.
The original?
Yeah, the first
that's
one.
That's the only one I've seen.
That's still a fun little movie.
I think I made it through 3.
It's not a torture porn.
And I saw,
No.
and I saw, and
the
I
other
saw
ones are, as I
Pyro.
understand, right? The
Yes.
sequels all are, but that one is like a procedural thriller. It's more like the same genre as like Seven or something like that.
To be honest, Spiral barely qualifies as a piece of filmed content.
Yeah, that was such a dumpster fire. That movie was terrible.
That's the Chris Rock one?
That's the Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson Saw installment. It may actually be the worst of the series, so I understand.
It is the worst. It is absolutely the worst. Because even the worst...
I still want to see the one the Spierig brothers did, because I actually have some faith in them.
I like all the Saw movies. They get progressively goofier, of course, but it's okay because it gets goofy in the same way that Jason got goofy or Final Destination got goofy. There's just so much you can do with the same theme every movie. And
to be fair, Final Destination was goofy from the beginning.
It was fun. That's true. That's when you get X-Files writers on it. That's what happens.
That's what you get. It has Devon Sawa. It has a character named Valerie Luton.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like,
but what I mean is that
it has Tony Todd as the no.
But that's a genuinely good movie. Like it still holds up. It's a genuinely good movie.
Yeah.
The fifth one. In Final Destination, the racetrack one has the awning come down on 2 people, and I shit you not, I have freeze framed this. The effects they did was they scaled it. They scaled the people as they got squished. They just scale down until they're flat. That's it.
Oh.
That's how they did the effect.
Oh,
I've never seen any of those movies.
It's amazing. It's so amazing. And so that's what I mean by silly.
Yeah.
They get bad. But that's okay. It's still entertaining as hell. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Saw series.
But yeah, no,
They're not good
Spiral
movies.
was there was something deeply wrong with the conception behind that film.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not like that movie.
Which is weird because I love Chris Rock. Top 5.
Weird way for him to do.
Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah, I would love to see Chris Rock make a horror movie.
Hmm.
I would even love to see him be kind of the spearhead behind such a project. It's a pity it's a thing that hasn't happened yet.
All right.
Yeah.
It's getting a little late, so I think we should talk about what we're gonna watch for next week for our our final Halloween episode.
So
wait, hold on.
Tuesday is Halloween.
I can't do it.
Yeah, that's what Jen and I were talking beforehand. Like, you have kids.
I have kids. Yeah.
Wagner has kids. It's gonna be Halloween night.
All right, folks. For next week, we're gonna take a week off. Which is fine. And we'll discuss what we talk about for next week on chat, or for the following week on chat.
That feels fair.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here on What's on the Pile. You can please like and subscribe. You can go to the Facebook. There's a website too. But it's just like and subscribe. That's all you got to do. All right.
Just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. Watch it there.
Yeah, it's fine. Watch it. It's okay.
Subscribe to the channel. Like it.
See you, Skip. Good night, everybody.